So I don't know if you just want to state your question again. just
Oh,
so
my
we have it
question-
Now, and then they can try to answer.
My question is, I'm just trying to figure out what numbers were used for the FY19 budget that you're using for the 1.32 increase.
So if you look at your documents, what you have here, the FY19 approved budget of the 43,599,370 is the approved operating budget. When we went to the actual assessment, there were transportation costs of, we realized in transportation reduction costs in the assessment process. So additional $490,000 was reduced in the assessment, which was reflected down to the individual towns for their assessment. But the actual cost was all included in the FY19. So I guess just to reiterate, transportation reductions were realized through the assessment calculation process, but in the actual budget, the total cost of the transportation was included.
So Madam Chair, if I may ask Mrs. Antonellis, based upon what you see and what you've heard and the question asked by the speaker, because I have been, just like we've all been discussing about where the 1.32%, does that change anything with the change of the overall budget, percentage-wise?
No, the approved operating budget included total cost of transportation. So the total cost of is what it is what you see, is a 1.32% change. In the calculation of the assessment, transportation savings were calculated within the assessment process. So that's why there's a difference between what's showing on the assessment for an operating cost versus what's showed here as an approved FY19 budget.
So what the towns approved were the 43,109.
The towns did not approve an operating budget.
They approved the 9760, the 17,549, and then the total revenues of the 15.8, which equal the 43,109.
The towns approved the assessment.
Correct, of 9.7 for Dayton, 17.5 for Rehoboth. When you add those two together, plus the anticipated revenue of 15,799, you come up with 43,109. So I'm guessing maybe you could just give me what numbers are in the 43,599 then? From the assessment sheet that was presented to the towns?
The 43,599 includes the 490,000 of transportation costs.
But that was reduced. Where is that in? Can you just, maybe just come into layman's terms? So you've got the total operation budget, because I matched with this year's. This year's 44176, I can pull up the assessment sheet, and it's right there in two numbers. So on last year's assessment sheet, could you give me what numbers equal that 43,599?
So again, if you go back to the transportation cost, the transportation's cost is reduced by the $490,000.
Right, so if it's reduced, that budget number is reduced. I'm just looking for what numbers. So if you have the operating budget of 40,470,000, and you have transportation of 2,638,959, that equals 43,109.
Correct.
That's what was presented to the town. So I'm just trying to come up, I can't come up with anything on this sheet, even using the assessment numbers, to come up with 43,599.
43,599 is the operating budget, which is not, it's not represented in here because the transportation costs are reduced by $490,000. So $490,000 of realized transportation savings is reflected in the operating budget here, up above.
You took this 490, but that still doesn't add in, because then if the operating budget is 490 less, then it's 40,470 plus the 26,2638. I'm still trying to come up with just where on the sheet it shows that number. There's got to be, it's got to add up by, you've got to be able to give me some numbers on this sheet that show 43,599 and nothing on this sheet
I will go back,
matches.
if I could, Madam Chair, I'll go back and review this and provide the calculations that is being requested.
So nothing on the assessment sheet would show, like last year, this year's assessment sheet clearly shows what you're stating as a school committee. You're stating it's $44,176,000. The assessment sheet clearly shows it so everyone can see in open transparency is right here. But what's on last year's, we can't match.
Madam Chair, oh, you should-
Just to be fair, especially for the members that weren't here last year, she's referring to FY19, not this current one.
Sorry, FY
No,
19 and 20, yes.
Because I wanted the same thing in layman's terms, we all do. And just as a reminder, at that period in time, we were going through a new contract for transportation. And if you recall, those of us who were around this table, there was a point in time where we realized, literally realized, that we were going to save money in transportation. And that's probably at the point in time that that reduction took place and it came out more on the revenue side, because that budget was already, the budget and the assessment are really, it's taken me a while to figure this stuff out. They really are two separate calculations. And so I'm assuming, and as you research, I'm sure you'll find out, the budget was already set, like we had already agreed on the budget. And then the calculations were happening in a way where we put in E&D money, we put this against it. Some years we put circuit breaker, and I think that's why you're not seeing it as clearly. But it got us to the numbers that were needed for the two towns.
Correct, well, I see, what I'm showing is with the two towns does not come up with the 43,599. So that's where I'm confused. I've got, I know, trying to get information from, I reached out to both finance committees, trying to find out what's going on. I reached out to the towns to find out what they put in. So if you add what they put in plus this revenue, that equals the 43,109. My question was, maybe it just, we used the old transportation number and didn't redact it. Because when you're going to the towns and saying, unless your revenue was higher, that's the only way it would work. But if you add up these two numbers, what the towns paid, plus what your estimated revenue was, so unless you have 500,000 more somewhere in revenue, then we don't add up. So that had to be, this would have to be 490,000 more in your revenue.
But the two budgets match.
Right, so it's 400.
Well, they don't match the 43,599. This document here,
The assessment.
the assessment, assessment for FY19 does not match 43,599.
Right, but the two
Right.
budgets match, the two.
Correct, but what was sent to the towns, what they voted on,
The towns, again, voted on the assessment number. They did not vote on the operating budget. So within the operating budget, at the time of the calculation of the assessment, a $490,000 reduction of transportation was calculated in the assessment.
okay, so then, at the time, it was, the operating budget was 43,599.
Correct.
However, we had a 490 reduction.
Correct.
So it's technically was 43,109.
Not the operating budget.
No,
Operating
it was
budget.
reflected in the assessment calculation.
Madam Chair, if I may, obviously, everyone just received this, whether it was given out individually or whatever. I think it would only be fair to both the speaker and to our business administrator for them to set up a time where the speaker can come in and sit down and they can have more of a opportunity to work through the numbers. And in the event that the speaker is not satisfied with that, she can come back or do whatever she would need to do with those numbers.
Well, I was just hoping it should be kind of like here, like I said, with this year, it's two numbers you're able to give me.
Well, you've
With
heard
FY20,
We've already heard
so that's why I was,
explanations.
no, I understand.
So the-
I'm saying it was, I was hoping to come tonight, and I'll address the school committee, which I'm here to address. I was hoping tonight to come in and see, there's two numbers, but it still doesn't match up.
Well, we
Um,
just got this whole packet though.
Correct.
We
Well, a lot of this you've had,
Yeah.
so that's why I said it's nothing new.
Well, I didn't have all the different sheets in here.
This is the first.
I'm sorry, the last page, I apologize, that's something I had made up. I had emailed, you do have that though. That was given to you on Wednesday in your email when we corresponded back and forth.
Not this entire packet.
Madam
No,
Chair,
the last page.
question-
But the rest is your
Can I
documents.
answer something for you?
Yes.
A minute? We're the only ones that vote a budget. The town does not vote the budget. The town votes the assessment, and the assessment can have multiple different revenue sources on that assessment sheet. That assessment sheet is to figure out what the town is going to be responsible for. The only number that the town votes on is the total assessment. They don't even separate the capital and the operating assessment.
Okay, then a great
But-
point would be that
but the
where did that
budget
extra money
is
come
where-
from? Was our revenue
I think
500,000 more?
I think she's saying that there was transportation that came in after the transportation contracts changed. We also had the override last year, we also had all the layoffs last year, there was a lot of
State
moving
has different
pieces
percentages
that
there.
all happened at the same time.
Right, so then that would kind of-
must be reflected off of that, that's my assumption, but I have not looked at this entire packet in detail. You know, but the budget is approved by the school committee.
Correct.
And the budget is
I'm just trying to
1.32.
match your numbers to what you state in this 1.32 to what's on the assessment sheet that you provide. So I'm just looking at your own documents, not even anything with town. I'm just saying you presented these to the towns, they approved that, so that's the only revenue you received was what those two towns approved. Was a 9.7, they paid the 17.5, well, or working on it in those payment plans with their regional districts. So those two would equal the 27 million.
But
And then,
the budget is, for last year, is definitely 43,599,370. Because it's in the whole budget, and that's what was approved.
Right, so
You see what I'm saying?
regardless
Regardless of where
of
the
that money.
revenue is, that's the budget that's spent. The assessment sheet is just for the town for where the assessments come from, that they vote on the one number.
correct, it's just on that, your assessment sheet, then you're missing 490,000.
I think that's what she's saying. Yeah.
I'm saying it's a
It's
reduction
from a reduction of the
of
transportation.
transportation cost that was embedded in this assessment calculation. They had already voted the operating budget at the totals that were presented. The assessment was when we had the contracts come in,
Yes.
specifically special education, transportation came in, and we realized that those costs were going to be reduced, so we calculated that cost within the assessment. So you're right, the numbers don't match up like they usually do.
Correct.
But that's because of the timing of which things happen, and we wanted to reflect a true reduction in cost to our towns so that they could realize
So
it.
then I would love to sit down with you and you can show me what numbers
There you go.
go and come up with the 43,599. But if it's something you can provide me like documents with, I know I want to give you plenty of time to, I will
So
work
again,
at your
the numbers that come up
leisure.
with the 4399 is, just like you saw the cover sheet here, it's all the numbers that add up to that total. That's the entire,
Right, but I'd like to see it in the breakdown of, on the assessment where it matches, like this year.
yeah.
So if it's something, like I said, I'll give you plenty of time. I know I'm asking for
I
documents
would
and.
rather us sit and have a conversation, because just handing over numbers, interpretations.
Right, that's what I'm saying,
take place.
I'd love to sit with
So,
you.
Absolutely.
But to at least have something, give you time to prepare, to have documents for me, so that way we can
Yeah.
figure it out, because it just, 16 years in accounting, this math doesn't add up. So it might add up in your world, but when you're seeing this and you're presenting these to residents, it doesn't add up.
Well, if I may, in her world, it's the school committee's budget. So it's the numbers are there. We've offered, and I take it you're taking us up on our offer, for this speaker to come in and sit down with Catherine and go over the numbers. You know, that'd be a good time, that'd be fine.
But to the point, to echo like Ken said, the 1.3% is right there. And I mean, I don't know how many people were able to stay awake the whole time last night while the filibuster was going on, but there was the comment around, oh, the budget's off by 190. You know, someone texted me as well this month saying, oh, is that true?
Actually, much of what you're saying is what Mr. Diggins said.
Correct, and he's probably referring to me, because I told you, I've reached
Yeah,
out
he did
to all of the
mention that.
school committee members, I've reached out to Ed Schwartz, I've reached out to Mike, I've reached out to, I'm asking, show me, is what I'm asking everyone. I'm saying, what I'm seeing, show me where this matches, because I just can't add it up.
Right, so if-
Where if, like I said, I'm perfectly beautiful, here's the budget, here's the sheet to match our budget. You're telling me the budget for last year, you're giving me a sheet that does not match it. I'm just asking for a sheet that matches what you're stating. So I am, like you said, coming to the school committee, because we do elect you all in to, we want to trust you, we want to know, and we're just asking for numbers. I know there were some committee members who didn't even know the two numbers. So that's, I just want facts, that's all I'm asking is try to find out where this stuff's going, what's going on, and Mr. Sir.
I just wanted, I was listening to her questions and stuff, and my thought was, wouldn't it be nice if we had more people trying to understand and being able to ask questions you're from Dayton.
Correct.
Asking questions to understand what they're voting on. I think it would be nice if there were more people that got that involved to understand what the budget was. Just my comment.
Right, for me, I don't care whether it's 1.32 or it's 2.4. I just want it to add up and match and be able to actively know what this is and be able to share it with other people. I'm not the only resident that feels this way. I have a lot of residents that reach out to me because they know I am vocal and I will speak on their behalf. So I'm not the only one. A lot of the information I get isn't even from myself. I've got people coming to me and saying, please present this for me.
Madam Chair, were you the one who posted the 21-page BCBA on the
Absolutely,
Facebook?
yes I did.
Where did you get that document from?
I'm not going to disclose my source.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't disclose the code, because
Why?
saw that
My
post.
question is, why wasn't it posted by the school department?
It's got privileged information that you published.
There is
That-
nothing
that
personal,
absolutely-
there is no identifiable information, there is no HIPAA
Yes.
violations.
I actually
Yes.
had teachers approach me.
Yes, there is.
Tell me that.
So
based on-
you posted it, and you have a source who presented that to you?
Absolutely.
And were you also the one who posted emails between personnel as well?
I believe you did as well, you have other people posting emails for you.
Such confidential
There was nothing confidential in our emails.
personnel issues?
There was nothing personnel in.
How do you know that?
Because you asked me to meet, and then you said we've never met before.
We met a year
So
ago.
I'm just curious, are you running the show tonight? Because I know this is a school committee meeting, and we seem to keep getting off pattern of
I
who
can
runs it.
I can
if-
ask questions as superintendent. to
Correct, but I do
anyone
not
who
have to
speaks up.
answer to
This
you.
is out of, it's not budgeted.
It's not appropriate,
Not
it's
budgeted.
unacceptable for you to behave this
I
way.
will tell you that I had multiple people approach me that teach in the district that said that based on those documents, they could figure out exactly who it was and who the
Yes.
kids were. So that is a little bit concerning, and I was also told that it was an internal audit that was done within the school, and it was never intended to be public in any way. It was an evaluation.
So now, this was something that was posted a
Policies.
long time ago, why are we bringing this up
I'm
now?
just saying, that
This
when
is
you
the
say that it
Because
can't be.
he more than knows how to email me, message me, and call me when
No,
hot
I'm
topics come
just-
up to come in and privately meet.
Can I answer? I'm
Absolutely.
just correcting one thing in that you said that nobody can tell who's in there, and I'm just saying that's not the case.
Okay.
Because there were people that approached me.
Madam
and
Chair,
said-
budget,
So,
and as you said, we'll get back
Correct.
to the budget.
Because we're, it's time. It's
Yeah,
just-
no, you're right.
Please.
With a budget situation, are you also the one who posted that we lost out on $800,000 of reimbursement of
I am
budget?
not going to speak to Dr. Azar.
That is a
anymore.
budgetary issue that keeps on cropping up, about $800,000 of a reimbursement that we lost. Do you have proof of that?
yeah, I also received emails.
So it is all documents are with the DA. I cannot speak on it any further.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for your input.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I received a message that was on.
The
that.
Attorney General and the DA, you can confer with them.
That's fine. Our attorneys also have that document of the BCEPA that was posted as well. So our law firm is
So
looking
this
to
is
detail.
why, I've got to tell you, it's, a lot of residents don't want to come.
Really?
They're afraid to come up, they're afraid to speak out.
On legitimate issues?
So I just want you as a school committee member to know that I'd love someday to share with you some of the private messages from other people. I'll get their permission and show you their feelings. I have sat with some of the school committee members on this board who have heard the similar messages.
Thank
All right,
you.
we're going back to the budget, I think, yeah. So, do we have anything further to say about the budget that we're?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate again, I understand what Melissa's saying, what I'm saying, it's clear, and I was, again, surprised that the comment was made last night that it doesn't look like the 1.32%. And when, you know, again, I was always trying to figure out from the assessment sheet, but we found out last week, it's, the percent changes there, and then as we all know, the assessment
Assessment
side
can go up
completely
significantly
different.
higher, because we're missing the EMD that we used last year. So
Right.
we used 1.25, we used 500 this year, for 750,000 less this year, so the assessment goes up greater than the budget.
Right, and then so again, to make people start thinking, thinking ahead is, obviously we saw what happened last night, and I am glad that we didn't reduce the budget where we were somewhat misled that there was a selectmen's meeting going on and they were gonna reduce their budget and trying to get us to meet a number. And obviously, if we saw that didn't happen, they didn't want to make us want to try and let us amend them. But what I would try encouraging people to start thinking about is thinking as we know we made reductions trying to get a number down to 4 something, and I'll still go back to I still feel we need a plumber. Attendance officer could be good. The reason I bring these up is health teacher. The reason I bring these up is that there's